CEO of nvidia Jensen Huang's worst nightmare just came through with the drop of Deepseek V4. So unsurprisingly, this model is extremely competitive on paper against Claude or GPT, but that's not the story here. For reference, Deepseek's previous model was trained on H800 GPUs, and the company is currently under investigation for acquiring smuggled nvidia hardware. But V4 sidesteps that supply chain entirely, and that's because Deepseek V4 was trained and deployed on Huawei chips, not H100s, Chinese domestic silicon, and this wasn't accidental. Deepseek deliberately gave Huawei early optimization access to V4 while locking out nvidia and AMD entirely. Jensen went on record saying if Deepseek shipped a frontier model first on Huawei architecture, it would be a disaster for the United States, and that's now happening. Now, currently the Chinese chip Ascend sits roughly between H100 and H200, but if you've ever worked on an LLM, you'll know that raw flops aren't the story. The story is actually the software stack. In reality, NVIDIA's moat was never really the hardware, it was CUDA. Every Chinese AI lab between DeepSeek, ByteDance, or Alibaba has engineering teams whose entire codebase runs on CUDA. Migrating off this is insanely expensive and painful, but the newest generation of Huawei chips are claiming CUDA compatibility, which honestly, if it holds up, this removes the single biggest friction point for switching. And the newest generation in the pipeline is targeting to roughly double the performance of the current generation. So for the last few years, US export controls were based on a bet. Cut off access to the best chips and you slow down frontier AI. But Deepseek V4 is the clearest evidence that that bet is losing. The gap between what you can build on domestic Chinese silicon versus NVIDIA hardware just closed to roughly zero at the frontier. And that's why Jensen's nightmare isn't that Deepseek built a good model, it's that they built it without him.